Kevin, so great to have you with us.
Thank you, Dustin. It's really good to be with you.
Yeah, no problem. I'd like to have our audience get acquainted with you a little bit. Would you talk to us a little bit about your background, like how you grew up in ministry, how you came to know the Lord, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I came to know Christ really as a teenager in high school,
Mm.
and it wasn't really too long after I really come to know the Lord. I got involved in ministry in my local church, and by the time I started college, or right before college, I really felt a call to ministry, and
Mm.
so I attempted to pursue that. But seeing as I came from a family that really wasn't involved with church,
Hmm.
my father had some other plans for me. He thought it would be better. I'd be better served if I would go out and get a regular degree,
Sure.
so that when I, in his words, failed in ministry, I'd have something to fall back on
Uh,
because he was a little concerned. But and I honored that request. And long story short, it was because of my willingness through the guidance of a very good pastor,
hmm.
my willingness to do that. I was able to lead him to the Lord eventually, and then I ended up going and pursuing ministry. And here the last 27 years I've been involved now for
Wow,
in pastoral ministry. So.
that's incredible.
Yeah, it's been great. We very privileged. We're very privileged to be a part of that. So,
Talk to us about where you are currently in ministry, where you're serving, how you're serving, and that kind of thing.
yeah, my wife and I, we are currently serving in a rural church.
Hmm.
However, it's a church that's really pretty progressive for a rural area
Wow.
in southeast Kansas. Very progressive people. We're very excited to be a part of that. We've actually pastored in cities like Seattle.
Uh-huh.
We've been in Dallas.
Okay.
We've been in Springfield, Missouri.
Wow.
We've been on the East Coast, just outside of New York. So we've had a lot of, as well as missionaries. We were missionaries to Central America, did church planting there for several years.
Wow.
And so we've had some really neat opportunities. God's really humbling opportunities, really, to be a
Hmm.
part of a lot of neat things. But through that process, we find that I think the thing that really draws people together, or the thing that makes ministry so wonderful, is people have the same need.
Mm.
Everybody needs Jesus.
Yeah.
So you just as you discover culture and you see where things are at, and that's what we're doing right now. We've been this is a new assignment that we've actually picked up here the last few months,
Okay.
and in this new assignment, we've it's really been kind of nice because we've discovered that people, even in rural areas, they're just as smart as people in the city,
Yeah.
and they have the same needs,
Right.
relationally, maritally, spiritually,
Hmm.
and so we're really enjoying it. It's been a great ride. We're very thankful that God's afforded us the opportunity.
Wow, that's exciting. Talk to us a little bit about why you serve on the board of directors here at Epic Church.
I think that's a great question. I think for me, Dustin, I've always asked the Lord to help me personally to invest in people in the pastorate that I'm currently, serving, and all. That's been a
Hmm.
real heartfelt thing for me. But in these last 7, 8 years, I kind of expanded that prayer
Okay.
to God. Help me if I can invest in anyone else. In anyone that is either a church planter or someone. If there's any experience that I may have had that I could just share, or
Yeah.
not that I feel like I have really that much to offer, but if there's something that I can do to encourage someone.
Sure.
And Bobby and I have developed a relationship. And I guess to answer your question, I think, not to get too far ahead of myself here,
Sure.
but to answer your question, I really feel it's because I just really believe in his ministry,
Mm.
believe in his vision, and I sense in him and the rest of the staff, including yourself,
Hmm.
just a real serious yet uh, um, heartfelt, genuine understanding of what it is God's called you to do. And there's some people you just feel like you want to invest in,
Yeah.
and the Lord opened the door, and so that's why I'm serving. I just feel like it's a blessing, and really it's an honor to be able to
Mm.
be a part of what God's doing here. So for me, that's the reason. I just want to be able to invest in where God is moving, and
Yeah.
so I
Well,
guess that's it.
yeah, it's so great to have you serving with us, and we count it a privilege and an honor to gain insight from you, your ministry background. Um, what do you see? You talked a little bit about our vision and our straightforwardness in ministry, but what do you see in the future for Epic Church? Maybe a year down the road, 2 years, 5 years?
Well, I think one thing that Epic is doing, and there are other churches that are doing this as well, and I hope and pray that we can even do this in our current setting. But I think what's so refreshing about what I see in your leadership style and philosophy
Hmm.
is to take Jesus right where people are,
Mm.
and I know that's kind of general,
Sure.
but I think maybe to tie it down a little bit better, you guys, Bobby's from here, Kansas City,
Uh-huh.
you're from a more urban type
Sure.
setting yourself, and you mean you understand, you know. So I think that at the same time, you're not afraid to be adaptable,
Right.
to be able to change,
Right.
and to be flexible, and to create a DNA within a framework of a church body, especially a church plant, which is that's what's so awesome about a church
Yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
You don't have baggage from the past. You know, just being honest, you know,
Sure.
you don't have any traditions you have to fight with. Not that tradition isn't bad, because I think you can develop good traditions, but you have a fresh slate. And what I've been so encouraged by, and so I guess just happy about watching you guys is even these last few months, as we've even been a small part of it, but as we've talked about certain areas where there's forks in the road, you have to make decisions, and as you make those decisions, it's been so neat to see the flexibility that has gone into this. That maybe you had a heartfelt like, oh, we should do this, and then God begins to reveal something else, and that decision becomes a little bit more knowledgeable. You make a better knowledgeable decision. And you're not afraid to do that. Well, a lot of people, they're just afraid to do that. They get rigid and they want to do it their way. They want to do it where it's easy. And what I appreciate about Epic, and I think this is what's going to propel the church into something that will be continually successful. And what I mean by that is success in my mind, as I say that, or I define it as watching lives changed and watching those changed lives really begin to change other lives.
Right.
You know, I think you're going to see a perpetual momentum that builds on that because of that willingness to be flexible, to say, God, whatever you want to do today. And if it's something different than we've done before, hey, we'll do it. And that's just refreshing.
Yeah. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
That's what it's all about.
yeah.
Talk to us a little bit, Kevin, of how you got to know Bobby, maybe where you met him.
It's kind of interesting. Bobby and I actually met on a cruise ship. Several years ago, we were both invited to be a part of it was actually a missions conference that
Okay.
just happened to be on a cruise ship.
ship.
Yeah. So, which we kind of, it's funny because it was interesting. I think I was drawn to Bobby because I kind of felt uncomfortable about the whole thing. You know, I was invited by this pastoral colleague to come and be a part of this. And they were raising money for Bible schools in Eastern Europe. And it was a great project.
Right.
But just the whole idea of being on a ship together was
Yeah.
kind of like, well, this is kind of weird, And I noticed that Bobby and Vanessa, both Kyle and I, my wife, they were kind of off to one side. And I said, hey, how you guys doing? And we began to talk. I said, yes, it's kind of, it's really weird for us too. And we kind of just hit it right off. We kind of had the same, I guess, the same sense of difficulty, if you will. and yet that at the same time, connecting with them relation, it was like we've known them a long, long time, and we just began to spend some time together that week, because we spent a week together on that ship and spent a lot of time together talking about ministry and about their dreams and goals and some of the experiences we had, and there was just an instant friendship and a bond that was there. So
Wow.
so that's kind of how we met and got together, and we right from the get-go, we both commented, my wife and I both, we were so glad to see someone who is, and Bobby's not young in the sense that he's not inexperienced, but
Sure.
but he was younger, a
Right.
younger guy who was coming up and really doing something great for God, and seeing someone who was at that age, but really had a wisdom, that God, he had really allowed. I could see he was allowing the Lord to give him wisdom, and really had his just his head on right. I just that was just refreshing again to us, and so we thought, boy, we're going to pray for them,
Yeah.
and that in turn turned into a deeper relationship where we started kind of sharing thoughts together, and then of course now our ability and our privilege to be able
Sure.
to serve on the board here is just,
Sure.
it's been a relational process, which that's been really great.
Yeah, definitely. And I should comment that Caleb Weaver is your son, who
He is,
who's a part of
yeah.
our team, our pastoral team, and leads worship for us and a number of things. And so
Yeah.
it's great to have you guys with us.
And that's been kind of a shock too, I mean.
Yeah.
3.5 years ago, Caleb didn't even play the guitar, and we didn't know what he's going to do. We were kind of concerned about, man, I hope this kid gets a plan for his life. But it's kind of neat how God does that. So yeah, we're very grateful, and I think he's having a blast.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Very
Talk
good.
to us a little bit about some of the strengths you see in Bobby as a leader, and specifically for Epic Church.
One of the biggest strengths that I see in Bobby is his ability to kind of see the big picture and to bring a sense of structure and organization. And I think being able to communicate that clearly to you guys as a team, but also I think to a congregation of people that says, hey, look, we're called
Right.
to be used, God has a plan and a purpose for our lives. And I guess to me, it's again, it's refreshing. I keep using that word, but to me, it's refreshing to
Sure.
see where it's not about success in ministry with Bobby. It's not about being able to reach some personal goal, but rather it's, to me, I think his greatest strength is there is a passion in his heart to really just see the heart of God fulfilled in the lives of other people. And I think for me I think that's why. My opinion, but I think it's going to fetter out this way. And because I see people who really respond this way to God's leading and a call to ministry, when they'll do it with that kind of humility and with that sense of passion, when the passion isn't theirs, but rather they see themselves as a vessel, like I really do believe Bobby does. And we all have areas of growth and strength that we will grow in, and I'm sure Bobby included. But I think what will be a great strength is that people will sense that this is a genuine place and a genuine environment where where he will perpetuate that because of his vision. So I think that's a great strength.
That's incredible. Well, Kevin, thanks so much for meeting with us today and talking with us a little bit. And we're thankful to have you on our board of directors.
Well, I'm thankful to be a part, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my heart with the rest of the church.